Welcome back. In our first video, Data Residency in the Age of Agentic AI, we established why data residency is a critical board level issue. The challenge is clear. How do you achieve global AI scale while meeting strict local compliance mandates? Today, we answer the how of it. We are diving into the architecture that solves this problem, the TrueFoundry AI Gateway. The AI Gateway is the answer. It is a new control plane for enterprise AI. Positioned between your applications and every model you use, it becomes the nexus of sovereignty, and it acts as both a traffic controller, deciding where data goes, and a compliance firewall, ensuring sensitive data never crosses an impermissible border. Now, let's dive into the actual architecture which makes this possible. Before we dive into how TrueFoundry enables data residency, let's look at the architecture in a bit more detail. TrueFoundry comprises of a split plane architecture with control plane as the orchestration layer and the compute, gateway, and data planes as the execution and the data layers. The control plane is the brain of the platform. It is responsible for managing the overall configuration and orchestration of the platform components. We provide both a hosted control plane that you can use or also self-host the control plane as part of our enterprise plan. The gateway plane comprises of one or more deployments of the TrueFoundry AI gateways. And the compute plane comprises of one or more Kubernetes clusters on which the applications deployed by the users run. This can be AWS, EKS, GKE, AKS clusters, OpenShift clusters, or any other standard on-prem Kubernetes cluster. Additionally, there are a few more components like the global authentication and licensing server, analytics server, data plane. There are three primary ways in which data residency is enabled in TrueFoundry. The first one is at a company level where the data never leaves your environment. This means whatever requests are flowing through your applications, they are never leaving your own environment. So it's completely controlled. The second is that data does not leave a particular region or country. So this is a sovereign level data residency. And finally, data for different regions can reside in different storages, which is also made available by TrueFoundry. Be sure to note that this holds true across both self-hosted and managed deployments of the control plane. Now let's look at the first one, data never leaves your environment. If you're looking at a self-hosted deployment option, then all data models and artifacts remain within your cloud account or on-prem environment, and data egress costs are eliminated, ensuring data never leaves your environment. On the other hand, if you're going for a managed deployments option, you can decide your region of gateway deployment and log storage. Additionally, you can bring your own blob storage to maintain full control. So across both the options of control plane deployments, data residency is ensured and data never leaves your environment. One important caveat is that the compute plane always runs entirely within your own Kubernetes cluster. TrueFoundry does not provide or access compute resources directly. TrueFoundry can help you create a new compute plane cluster using Terraform, or you can also use an existing cluster. Additionally, TrueFoundry also enables data residency at a sovereign level. With a control plane gateway, you can have multiple gateway URLs in different regions, which basically govern where the requests are flowing. So your requests are only flowing in those particular regions where those gateways are actually deployed. Additionally, the third point is data for different regions can reside in the different storage buckets that you mentioned. So you can also mention and bring your own buckets deployed in certain regions. So the data is only stored in those regions. This is especially useful for rules such as the ITAR compliance in the US, which requires certain data to stay within US borders. Now let's look at a platform demo. Now before we dive into the platform demo, let me show you the gateway endpoints enabled by TrueFoundry. So if you go to status.truefoundry.com, you can see that we have a globally distributed gateway with a global endpoint that auto routes to the nearest healthy region across 12 plus locations. And we also have regional endpoints which you can use if you have specific regional requirements. For example, for London, you can use this particular endpoint of the AI gateway. All right, now coming to the platform, you need to navigate to settings, and you can see that you can enable certain gateway endpoints here. And these are your region-specific gateway endpoints through which the requests are flowing. The request data is staying within the specific region. Now you can also easily switch between the different gateway URLs. If you go to the playground, specifically for experimentation, you can select the specific endpoint here when using the playground. So let's say I have selected this, and whatever requests I'm placing here as part of the prompts will flow only through that endpoint. Let me take the example of Europe. So let's say I want to use this within my code. All I need to do is go to code snippet, and you can see that the base URL is now changed to the European Gateway URL endpoint. The other thing is, how do you enable data for different regions to reside in different storages? You can do this via tracing projects. If I go and create a new tracing project, here I have an option to either select a control plane managed storage or also a customer managed storage. Now you can bring your own storage and you can mention this here. All your data will be specifically stored in that particular storage. Again, this is integrated via the playground where you can mention this under the logging configuration and you can select the specific tracing project, and all the logs will be stored only in that specific bucket, which can be configured to reside in a particular region. Now let me take an example where I just take any specific tracing project, and if I go to the code snippet, you can see that this is also added as part of the extra headers. So this is how you can easily integrate this within your application code. To conclude, as agentic AI matures, organizations that succeed will be those that master the balance of agility and sovereignty. TrueFoundry AI Gateway represents the next evolution in enterprise AI infrastructure. You can scale globally, operate locally, and stay compliant effortlessly. If you're ready to implement a sovereign AI stack, feel free to contact us. Thank you for watching.